welcome back to Yahoo Finance Live on this Wednesday morning. It has been a few months now since we've been talking to Yahoo Finance's Anjali Kimlani regularly. And Anjali, I got to say, not a welcome face back on the program, but we are talking about a rise in the Delta variant of COVID-19 and some, I wouldn't call them restrictions, but recommendations. And wearing a mask indoors is not really a restriction, but it is a rule that is being reimposed in at least LA County, and one wonders if other areas of the country are soon to follow.
Right, Miles, and that's voluntarily too. So let's start off with what's causing this, right? We've got the Delta variant, which is the newest variant of concern. It originated in India in October, but what we're looking at right now is a very sharp growth. So for example, we know that Dr. Anthony Fauci said last week that it now accounts for 20% of all cases in the US. But let's take a step back and look at where it came from. If you look back at the end of May, it only accounted for less than 5% of cases. Then by early June, we were looking at 10% of cases. And now by mid-June, it is 20%. So it's really a stark growth there. And what we know about it so far is actually very little. So there's no way to really classify it other than it's highly transmissible, and that it's 2 times more transmissible than the Alpha variant. That's the one out of the UK, which accounted for about 70% of cases last month and is now down to 60%. So the Delta variant is certainly taking over. And so that is where a lot of the concern is coming from. We know that the World Health Organization already recommended wearing masks indoors, whether or not you're vaccinated. There are some experts who believe that there should be a differentiation between if you are in a highly vaccinated or a low vaccinated area, which we know there are definitely pockets of in the US. But as it stands right now, LA County is the first to come out in the US to say we recommend masking indoors. And that's something that we are likely to see happen across the US as well, just waiting to see what the updates are. And this came just 2 weeks after California dropped their mask mandate, after the CDC, of course, imposed that rule. Now, there are 2 things happening right now as well. One, we know that the CDC is obviously weighing this. We don't know when any recommendation will come out, but simultaneously, lawmakers are asking the CDC for information on travelers and the mask mandate that is still imposed on them. So a lot happening right now. And to your point, definitely the growing concern is the reason why I'm back here. So you and I both don't want this to happen, but we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we talked every day for about 14 months tracking the pandemic. And when we were finally able to move on, I think it was a welcome relief for both of us. And just quickly, there is some data coming in on the effectiveness of existing vaccines against the Delta variant. This, of course, is setting up what one imagines is going to be a 22, 23 conversation around booster shots. But it does seem so far that there is not any, let's call it a maximally evasive strain of COVID that renders any existing vaccine essentially, irrelevant.
That's correct. Not irrelevant, but we have seen reduced. So initially we saw that variant from South Africa. Now the Beta variant did have some signs. And because the Delta variant is similar, it is also showing decreased effectiveness, but not enough to cause concern. We did see those breakthrough cases in Israel that many are concerned about, but that included both vaccinated and unvaccinated individuals. Largely speaking, we have seen the statistic hold that vaccinated individuals aren't seeing severe cases largely. So that is all sort of holding true. We know now that Moderna, Pfizer, as well as AstraZeneca all have confirmed that they are holding up. We are still waiting on word from Johnson & Johnson, but all of this still, the sort of lingering question is whether or not boosters will be needed this year or whether or not they'll be needed in subsequent years. The recent studies have shown that there is prolonged protection, but we still have to get that confirmation. We know the U.S. has already purchased vaccines in anticipation of a fall booster sort of round. So we'll see how things turn out.